Do you sometimes struggle with how your guitar chords sound? Maybe you're used to hearing some other players play and hear their chords and they sound really bright and open and articulate. And maybe you're having trouble getting your chords to sound that way. And today we're looking at the top 10 reasons why your guitar chords may not be sounding as good as they could. I've been teaching guitar for a lot of years, and these are the most common things that I have found with my students that cause problems with their chords not sounding quite right. So if you're a beginner and you're struggling to make your chords sound nice and clear, or even if you're more of an intermediate player, you'll probably find some valuable information in this video. You may even be doing some of these things and not even realize that you are, and your chords are not sounding as clear as they could be. Some of the things will be related to your fretting hand, and some of them will be related to your strumming hand. So we're going to look at both of those things today so that you can make your guitar chords sound as best as they possibly can. So we'll jump right in, we'll zoom in on the neck and have a look at these top 10 reasons why your guitar chords don't sound good. For these examples, I'm going to use a regular C major chord. Now you're probably familiar with how to play that, but just in case you aren't, I'll go quickly through the fingering on that. So your ring finger is on the 3rd fret on the A string, your middle finger is the next string down, 1 fret back. The next string is open, and then your index finger is on the B string at the 1st fret. The first reason your guitar chords are not sounding as good as they could is you're not playing with your fingertips. So when we're putting our fingers on the guitar neck, we want to make sure that we have a nice curl around to our fingers so that our fingertips are what are coming into contact with the strings. Now the reason for that is if our fingers are lying a little bit too flat, then they will come into contact with some of the other strings that we don't want, and they'll mute those notes out. So by making sure that we have a good curl to our fingers and our fingertips are in contact with the strings, it keeps them out of the way of the other strings beside them. Now to do that, you may have to play around with the placement of your arm and how your wrist is sitting. So you may want to move your wrist a little bit further ahead, or maybe change the angle of your elbow. You'll want to play around with that because all of those joints in your arm affect how your fingers will end up lying on the neck. If we go back to that C major chord, if I play with my fingers a little bit more flat, you'll hear how this chord sounds. So you can hear how some of those notes, particularly this high one, where my index finger is just a little bit too far flat, I'm causing that string to be muted out completely. Now you may play that chord and not realize that you're doing that, and it may sound okay to your ear. If I strum through this quickly, that doesn't sound too bad. But my index finger is completely muting out that high E string. Now if I curl my finger around a little bit more, push my wrist forward a little bit more to get more of that curl, then that opens up that note. And then you can hear that higher note. A good way to test whether you are playing on your fingertips enough is to play each individual string of the chord and listen to each note. If any of those notes don't ring out, something like this, then you know that your fingers are lying too flat and you need to get more of a curl to get more on your fingertips. So again, if you play through that, you may not notice that you're missing some of those notes. So it's important to form the chord, play the chord, and then check each individual string. And if you get some dead notes like that, figure out which finger is causing it. Make the adjustment, and again, that might be with your wrist, or it might be with your fingers. Make that adjustment and let that string ring out. Reason number 2 is where you're placing your finger within the fret. Now when we say that we're playing at the 3rd fret, we're talking about the 3rd spot here up on the neck, but the most important part is that you don't want to play in the middle of that fret. You want to play close to this front fret, so closer to the sound hole. And you'll get a much nicer tone if you're playing close to the fret. The reason for that is what we're actually trying to do here when we push the string down, we're pushing it against the fret, essentially shortening the length of the string. So instead of it ringing all the way from the nut to the bridge, we're shortening it by putting our finger on that fret, pinching it against that fret, now you've got a shorter length of string, which is what causes the change in pitch. Now, technically, we could put our finger anywhere in between those two frets to create that, but the farther back you are, the more difficult it is to get that string to sit down tightly against that fret. And then you get this fret buzz. You've probably heard a sound similar to this. And that sound, that buzzing sound, is the string vibrating against that fret. And so if we move our finger forward and press the string against the fret, then we remove that buzzing sound. And it's a much clearer sound. And the great thing with this is that it doesn't require more pressure. You're just changing where you're putting the pressure. Let me demonstrate that again by showing you if I play this note back here on the fret and I get this buzzing sound. If I just slide my finger forward without pushing with more pressure, the note is suddenly a lot clearer. So it doesn't require any more strength, it's just simply where you're placing your finger. And that's the same with all the fingers in this chord. I'm trying to play as close to the fret as I can. Now, some chords, you're not going to be able to do it quite that way. So for example, if you play an A major chord, typically would look like this, where all three fingers are on the same fret, it's pretty much impossible to get all three of those fingers as close to that fret as possible. But as you build up strength in your fingers, you'll find that you won't always have to be right on top of the fret. Now, the other thing you'll notice about this A major chord is that my weakest finger, which would be my ring finger, is closest to the fret. My next weakest finger is a little bit farther back, and then my strongest finger, my index finger, is further away than the rest. So because that index finger is stronger, that helps me to be able to form that chord and not get that fret buzz. But generally, the rule that you want to follow is try to get your fingers as close to the frets as you can. That's going to give you the best sound. The number 3 reason that your chords don't sound good is you're not putting enough pressure on the string to make that good contact with the fret. So if our finger is on the string and we're pushing the string down, even if we're playing close to the fret, we could still get that buzzing sound if we're not putting enough pressure down on the string. But like I mentioned, you will find that you'll need less pressure as you're playing closer to the fret. Now, reason number 4 is the exact opposite of that. You may be putting too much pressure on the string. So like I mentioned earlier, when we're pushing the string down, what we're trying to accomplish is to push that string right against the fret and get good contact with the fret. We're not trying to push the string down to make contact with the wood of the neck. We're trying to make contact with the fret. Now, the reason that that's important is if you push too hard, because the frets sit up higher than the wood on the neck, you can change the pitch of the note by pushing too hard. So for example, this note with our index finger, if I push hard and try to get that string to touch the wood, you'll hear how the pitch of the note changes. And that's the same for all the notes. So if all of your fingers are pushing down too hard and you're changing the pitch slightly of the notes, it's going to sound like it's out of tune. Now, the 5th reason ties into that one with pushing too hard or just simply gripping the neck of the guitar too hard. So what happens in this case is that players will often grab the strings and pull down on the strings because they're trying to push the string in so hard that they're actually pulling the strings in a downward motion instead of straight in against the guitar neck. And that again will change the pitch. So again, here's the chord. If I push hard and grip the neck really firmly and bend those strings, it'll sound like this. So 2 things happen there. One is the string gets bent and it changes the pitch. And then it brings my finger down and makes contact with the string below it, which then mutes out that string. Number 6 is thumb placement. Now, this is an often overlooked part of playing guitar. And this ties into all of the other points that we just discussed. As I mentioned earlier, when you're trying to play on your fingertips, the angles of your wrist and your knuckles and your elbow all come into play, and so does the thumb. So if your thumb is too high up on the neck like this, it's going to be more difficult for you to get a curl around to your fingers to get onto your fingertips. So if you find you're really struggling to get the fingertips on the neck, bring that thumb down, bring the wrist forward, and you'll find you'll be able to get more of a curve so that your fingers can play with the tips. If your thumb is too high up, you can see how it brings my wrist up and that flattens my fingers as well. So try and keep that thumb down. From looking at it from the front angle, you shouldn't be able to see much of the thumb, maybe a little bit like you can here on mine, but it should be down below the top of the neck. Now there are some cases, and if you've watched videos and looked at pictures of some of your favorite guitar players playing, sometimes you'll see guys have their thumb over top here. Now there's a couple different reasons for that. One is, if you look at somebody like Jimi Hendrix, he played a lot of chords using his thumb, and he would fret notes using his thumb. So he actually had really long fingers, and he was able to get his thumb over top and still be able to get around to be able to play on his fingertips. Now the other thing is, quite often when he was doing that, or as other players do using electric guitar, if you're bending strings a lot, you need your thumb up there to give you a little bit extra support to bend that string. But in that case, what you're doing is playing one string at a time, and you're not worried about muting out other strings. You're not trying to play on your fingertips in that case. In this lesson, we're discussing guitar chords on acoustic guitar. It's a little bit of a different technique than playing on electric guitar. Now, a lot of these principles still apply to electric guitar, but there are some special circumstances in electric guitar, like bending strings, for example, where you will have to change the positioning of your hand to accommodate that. But for the most part, you want to have that thumb down behind the neck. And again, you'll find that angle will help you to get the fingertips, and it will also help you to get more strength in your fingers. So this is an interesting thing. If you play with your thumb up high, if you take your hand off the neck and look at where your fingers are, when you're pushing forward, you're ending up pushing against this part of your palm. And it's hard to get a lot of strength there. But if I reposition my hand so that my thumb is more in the middle of the neck, if I bring my hand off now when I'm pushing my fingers forward, I'm pushing against my thumb. And there I can get a lot more pressure. So if you try that yourself, try pushing against this part of your hand versus pushing against your thumb. You can get a lot more pressure against your thumb. And the more strength that you have, the easier it'll be to push down the strings. Reason number 7 is sometimes you want to mute out some of the unwanted notes. So for example, for this C major chord, we don't want to play this lowest E string. Now we could, but technically that makes it a C/E chord, which sometimes you'll want, but in this case, we just want a regular C major chord. So we don't want that low E string to ring out. So one trick to make that happen for you is use your ring finger just to nudge up against this E string to keep it from ringing. So kind of the opposite of what we were discussing earlier. In this case, we want this finger to be pushing against that string to keep it from ringing out. And by doing that, then we can play all 6 strings, and we don't have to worry about that low E string ringing. If we don't mute out that low E string and we play all 6 strings, then we have that low E string ringing. It's not quite the sound that we're looking for when we're trying to play a C major chord. So that low E string is not a note that we want in there. So just by nudging that ring finger up against it, then we can keep that note out of the chord. For these next few examples, we're going to be looking at the strumming hand and how that may be affecting the sound of your chords. The number one thing that I see with the strumming hand is sometimes players, particularly beginners, will kind of stab at the strings instead of really strumming through. So it would sound something more like this. So in that case, there might be a little bit too much arm movement. You want to try and get this down to more of the wrist in action here. But the big thing here is you want to imagine the guitar pick like a paintbrush. So a paintbrush that's gliding up and down over the strings like you're putting paint on a wall. You don't want to grip the pick too tightly and make it really rigid. You want to have it loose and comfortable in your hand so that when it goes across the strings, it's just gliding across. And you don't want to hold it too loosely because then you risk dropping the pick. So you want to find that middle ground where you're holding on to it just enough so that you're not going to drop it. And just really imagine that you're using a paintbrush. Now the next tip, which goes along with that last one, is that you want to make sure that you're getting all the strings as you're strumming through. A lot of times newer guitar players will do kind of an outward motion with their hand because they're maybe afraid of hitting the guitar with the guitar pick, and so they kind of do a little bit of an outward strum. Now what you want to do is, in the beginning, make sure that you're coming into contact with the body of the guitar with the pick. As you come down, the pick will actually land on the body of the guitar. Now don't be afraid of damaging the guitar. Most guitars have this piece here, which is called a pick guard, and that's exactly what it's for, is to protect your guitar from the guitar pick. But by doing this motion, you're going to strum through the strings and you're not going to miss any of the strings. So if we go back to this C major chord, like I mentioned, a lot of times what I see is players will play in an outward motion like this. And what happens is a lot of times you're missing those high strings. By bringing the pick down and coming into contact with the body of the guitar, that ensures that we're getting those high strings to ring out. Now this is a technique that you really want to focus on when you're first starting out. After a while, you'll get used to the mechanics of how to play, and you're not going to be thinking specifically that you're trying to hit the body of the guitar because you'll have that range of motion, and you probably won't actually come into contact with the body of the guitar after some time. But initially, we're going to exaggerate that movement so that you're not missing the strings. Once you get into the habit of actually strumming through like that, you're not going to have to think about it, and it'll just become second nature. That range of motion will become natural. Now this next one is another one that's often overlooked, and that has to do with the thickness of your pick. Now I have other videos on my channel that discusses specifically this, but you want to have a pick that's not too thick. If you have a really thick pick and you're trying to strum on an acoustic guitar, the pick won't flex like a thinner pick will. And so then what'll happen is you'll have more of a clunking as you're going through the strings instead of that glide like the paintbrush. So by getting a thinner pick, that pick will glide over the strings a lot smoother. A thick pick is great for electric guitar or picking individual strings, but when we're strumming the guitar, we want to have a thinner pick. So this particular one that I use and that I recommend is a Dunlop 0.73 millimeter pick, and this is the one that I always use. I find that it's a good middle ground. It's not too thin so that it's not floppy, and it's not too thick, so it glides nicely across the strings. If you do use a pick that is too thin, you'll find that it'll be nice and easy to play with, but you won't have as much control with it. So a nice one that's in the middle like this, 0.73 millimeter, is a great one to use. I usually just purchase mine on Amazon, order it and have it to my house the next day. I'll put a link in the description below for this particular one that I use. So those are the top 10 things that I see that affect the sound of people's guitar chords. If I missed one, let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, then please hit the like button to let me know, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one. If you want to see some more videos like this, check out this playlist right here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.